channel. Horton's here to visit us again. Hi. Today we're going to be going over, I know, but all of the books that I read in January. I had such a fantastic reading month. I didn't get through all of the books that I wanted to, but I got through so many, so I'm really not disappointed in any way. So we're gonna get right into it. I don't think these are gonna be in order because I just don't remember the order at this point. So first up, we are going to be talking about the Naturals series. I read Killer Instinct, All In, and Bad Blood, plus the novella at the end, which is 12. I adored this series. Like, everything about this, the way that the plot went, it went in a direction that I wasn't expecting it to. It hit a topic that I am a little bit obsessed with. It's just so intriguing. And it sort of hits that in the third book and then really goes into it in the fourth one. And I loved it. Each book is told from the same POV, but it follows sort of some of the background of each individual character that is part of the Naturals program, and I really liked that and getting to see more about them and everything. And these kids are just so unique and different from each other. Like, each one is they're good standalone characters. Like, none of them really sound like each other. They're just distinct, and I really enjoyed that. So Killer Instinct was a 4-star read, All In was a 4.5-star read, and then Bad Blood was 5 stars, and then 12 was a 3-star read. It was just a novella at the end, but I did enjoy getting a little bit of a sense of closure about these characters and seeing what they did a few years down the line once they're full-grown adults. So I did appreciate having that aspect. Then I read Frigid by Jennifer L. Armentrout. She typically writes fantasy, from what I understand. I've never read any of her books. This is a romance, like a suspense romance, where these two are in a cabin in the mountains during ski season and they're snowed in. She has always had a thing for him. She feels like it's not something that he shares because he's kind of a player. He sleeps with a bunch of people. And these feelings, she just feels like she can't suppress them anymore. Like, she has to tell him. And while they're there, some weird things start happening. The weird things that start happening were kind of obvious to me. Like, the suspense element of this really wasn't giving that much. Like, I definitely knew what the turn was going to be at the end, so that was a little bit disappointing. The romance wasn't really anything spectacular either. I didn't understand why she liked him so much. I just didn't see much about him that was worth liking. Sorry. But the vibes were there. Like, this actually had me looking on Airbnb for like a cabin somewhere in the New England states to go stay in for a couple days and go skiing, because I haven't gone skiing in years. Like, it gave me that vibe and that desire, so at least there was that. And then I read Passenger to Frankfurt by Agatha Christie and was very confused. This is my least favorite Agatha Christie that I've ever read. It was convoluted with conspiracy theories, and it's about this guy who is waiting in an airport, and this woman comes up to him and is like, "Can I borrow your passport and your coat so that I can pretend to be somebody else to get away?" And like, this is a life or death thing, and he agrees for some reason. This is at a time where, you know, TSA wasn't a thing, and it was a little bit easier to borrow somebody's passport. And he eventually runs into her again, and it just devolves into this massive conspiracy thing, and sort of like an Illuminati style vibe with like certain factions sort of running the world. It was just weird. It was weird. I think at the time this was written, it could make a little bit more sense, but it didn't to me in this present day and age. Then we have A Touch of Chaos. This is the last book in the Touch of Darkness series, which is a Hades and Persephone's retelling. I ate the series up when I was originally reading it, and then it took me forever to finally get to this book once it was released, I think, because I didn't want it to end. And I feel like once I did, it was a little bit of a disappointment, which was surprising. There's just so many, I'm looking through, there's like 3 or 4 POVs, I think at least 4, and that kind of threw it off for me. Like, I appreciated having different storylines going on that eventually converged, but I just felt like having them all done, like there maybe were too many, or I don't know, it was just a little bit too much. I did still appreciate the characters. I like Hades and Persephone. Dionysus in here is hilarious. Hermes is hilarious. Like, I do appreciate them. So it was still a good time reading it. It just was only like a 3-star read, and I expected it to be a little bit more than that. Then I read My Gal Sunday as my Mary Higgins Clark book for the month. This was only like a 2-star read. This was kind of boring. It follows, I forget what her actual name is, but her nickname is Sunday, and she's married to the former president of the United States, and they are solving these mysteries together that they keep somehow finding themselves in the middle of. So it's just a bunch of short stories where they're solving these mysteries. The mysteries are really boring because it's really hard to do short story mysteries and have them be in-depth enough to captivate. Then I read Don Quixote. Kind of. I think I got like 60 or 70% of this, like of the way through this. It's like 1,000 something pages. It's extremely small font. The audiobook is over 20 hours long. And I was trying to listen to the audiobook and I just couldn't do it anymore. It was months of me trying to do this and I was like, it's just the same ridiculous storyline over and over in a different font. And it's pretty much just following this rich guy who thinks that he's a knight and he's going around imagining all of these fantastical things are happening to him and that someone with magic is fighting against him and transforming people, and that's why nobody can see that like he's going after these giants, but they're actually windmills. Everybody sees windmills and he's like, no, they're enchanting them. And it's like, you're just a little nuts and everybody's enabling you. And it was irritating. Like, it was funny at the beginning, but then it was just one convoluted thing after another that was absolutely ridiculous. And I was like, and I'm bored with you. So we gave up on that. I am counting it as a read though, because I spent so long trying to get through it. And then I read the One Dark Window duology. If you guys take anything out of this video other than read the Natural series, read this duology. If you love gothic fantasy, you're going to eat this series, this duology up. Like, the world building, the magic system in here, it's just fantastic. I really struggle to explain, and I have tried. I tried telling my partner at work about this, and I think he was a little confused, and it took me a very long time. So I'm not even going to try to explain this, but just go into it knowing that it's like a gothic fantasy vibe. The romance in here I thought was so well done. Like, I was eating that up, and it was just so unique. It was so unique, and you have to read it to really understand and grasp it, but they're both 5 stars. They're both 5 stars. We're gonna move on because I will sit here and go on for a long time, and it's still not even gonna make any sense. Then we have These Twisted Bonds. This is the second book in the These Hollow Vows duology. I said it with that one, I'll say it with this one. If you're an intro reader for fantasy, I think this would be a good little duology to pick up because the world building isn't anything crazy, the magic system isn't anything new or overly special. But if you've read other books, if you've read the ACOTAR series, for example, because this is very reminiscent of that, or the Cruel Prince trilogy, or like anything a little bit higher level than this is going to be boring for you guys. Like, it was only a 3-star read. I don't even entirely remember what happened in this. I do know the twist at the end. I definitely predicted, and I'm like, yep, it's all that coming. The romance was kind of lackluster. The characters, there was nothing really there for them. So it was boring. It was boring. Then we're going to get to one that I'm just going to get out of the way, and that is Onyx Storm. This was only a 3-star read. Maybe 3. No, 3-star read. This was my least favorite in the series, and I know everybody's going to come for me because they were like, no, Iron Flame was the worst. This is the best. I loved Iron Flame. I thought the world building needed to happen. I thought it was really good. This just felt lackluster. I felt like we didn't spend enough time in any one place while she's trying to develop this world. Like, I wanted more of the different places that they go to. I wanted more out of the twist at the end for Iron Flame, like the cliffhanger that they left us on. I really wanted that to be delved into more, and it just felt too easy. Like, everything that was going on with that, I'm trying not to give spoilers for that. Everything that was going on for that like should have been much more prevalent in this and much more of a conflict, and it just didn't seem like it was. So that was disappointing. I don't know. I didn't like it. The cliffhanger ending for this one was very confusing and not well written at all, in my opinion. Like, I get cliffhangers can sometimes be confusing intentionally, but like that didn't feel like this. It just felt like it was written badly. And I'm getting a little tired of her ending on cliffhangers to bring people back to the next one. Just for the sake of doing it. Like, I liked Iron Flame, but I know a lot of people didn't like the middle, and then the cliffhangers will brought them to this one. This one I didn't really like the rest of it, but the cliffhanger kind of is what'll bring me to the next one. I'm already just so invested that I'm going to keep reading them, but I feel like we're getting gimmicky at this point with the cliffhangers, and that's very frustrating from a series where I loved the first book so much. Then we have Vow of Thieves. This is the second book in the Dance of Thieves duology. Can't talk too much about this one because it would give away stuff for the first one, but this was a 4-star read. I still loved the romance in here. I was actually like very invested, very moved by it, and almost cried a couple times. I'm not Not entirely sure why. I really enjoyed the tension and the way she drew this story out. None of it felt slow. The pacing was fantastic. It's really hard to explain some of this. This is another one where I tried to explain to my partner at work and I was like, this is confusing. But like the whole world is based on these different kingdoms ruling, but then within the one kingdom there is like this outlaw family that claims they are like the first kingdom established. They don't have any actual like rule. They're still governed by the ruling power that owns that territory, but they let them sort of run everything as their own like little outlaw land. Sort of like I kind of in my brain look at it as like the mafia within states. Like they don't actually have power, but they do within their own people. I don't know if that makes sense. And in the first one, the queen sends some emissaries to try to look for a traitor to her kingdom, as well as sort of try to put these people in line, and it devolves very quickly. Without giving anything away for that one. And then I obviously, like I said, can't explain the plot of this one too much, but it was really well done. And once I got into the world and understood the way that it functions, I thought it was fantastic. Then we have A Court of Silver Flames. This was actually the first book I read in the month, and it was a 5-star read. It was such a banger to start the year out with. I didn't expect to like it because of the character that it follows, and I'm not a huge fan of her. I'm trying to like talk about this without giving anything away because this is like the last book that's currently out in the ACOTAR series. But I loved the character development in this. I thought it was so well done and really moving. I loved some of the side characters that get introduced in this. They were introduced in other books, but now they're like much more of a main focus, and the way that she helps bring them into their own power and heal some of the past struggles that they had, I thought was a great addition to the story and so well done. And then there's extra tension that she adds with all the other characters where there's just a new issue being brought to the forefront that isn't a problem in the other books. Like I said, it's really hard to talk vaguely about these at this point, but this was a 5-star read and I didn't expect it to be. So like I said, even if you're not a fan of the main character that this is following, give it a chance because I think her redemption story was absolutely beautiful, just so beautiful. And I guess we're gonna end my reviews on a really low note. This is A Dangerous Duet. This is a historical fiction and it's supposed to be following this female piano player that wants to go to an academy to continue studying. She's pretending to be a guy playing at a concert hall because women aren't supposed to be pianists, and while she's there she ends up like getting too close to this crime ring that she doesn't realize is there until it's a little too late. It should have been a really captivating premise, and in the beginning I was like, okay, like this writing is really slow, it's slow paced, not super intriguing. It wasn't drawing me in at all, but I thought that the crime plot would redeem it. That didn't come into play until very late in the story, and it felt like it was wrapped up way too quickly. So I was very disappointed by this. This was only a 2-star read, so like I said, ending on a low note for that. But those are all the books that I managed to read. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 if we're counting the novella, so I'm super proud of myself for that. And then I do have the stack of books that I didn't quite get to. We have A Gathering of Shadows, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I did start this before the month ended, I just didn't finish it. A Conjuring of Light, Asylum, Daydream, Mistborn, which I really need to read because that was supposed to be my book club book for the month, and City of Glass. So those are the books that I had on my list that I didn't get to, but I am still super proud of the amount of books that I did. So that is it for this video. Let me know some of your 5-star reads from January. Maybe I'll add them to my TBR in the upcoming months. I love having new books to add. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in another video very soon. Bye!